Every day, you drive next to something that could crush your car in seconds. An 80,000-pound truck moving at highway speed. And yet, here's the strange part. It doesn't use the same braking system as your car. Think about that. If brakes are just meant to stop a vehicle, why would something heavier need a completely different system? Why not just make bigger versions of the same brakes? The answer isn't stronger metal or better design. It's something you can't even see. Compressed air. And it all starts with a problem most people never truly imagine. Weight. A truck is not just bigger than a car. It belongs to a completely different world of physics. A fully loaded semi-truck can weigh up to around 80,000 pounds, which means the force needed to control it is far greater than what most drivers ever deal with. At that size, stopping is no longer a simple action. It becomes a serious engineering problem. The reason is momentum. When a vehicle carries that much mass and moves at highway speed, it builds enormous forward force. So the obvious idea would be to take the same kind of brakes used in cars and simply make them bigger. But that is where the real weakness appears. Most passenger vehicles use hydraulic brakes, which depend on brake fluid moving through a sealed system. This works well for lighter vehicles, but it comes with one dangerous flaw. If the system develops a leak, the pressure can drop and the braking power can disappear. In a car, that is already dangerous. In a massive truck, it can be catastrophic. A vehicle that heavy cannot rely on a system where one leak can mean total failure. To solve this problem, trucks use a completely different approach: air brakes. Instead of relying on liquid pressure like hydraulic systems, they use compressed air, and that single change completely transforms how the system behaves under failure. In a typical car, pressing the brake pedal sends fluid through a sealed line to create stopping force. But in a truck, the logic is reversed. It is not press to stop, it is closer to release to move. Inside the system, powerful springs are constantly trying to apply the brakes. Air pressure is what keeps those brakes released while the truck is moving. As long as the system has enough pressure, the vehicle can keep rolling. But the moment something goes wrong, like a leak or a loss of pressure, the air can no longer hold the springs back. And instantly, the brakes are applied automatically. This is what makes air brakes different. They are designed to fail in a safe way. And this design also explains something most people never notice. When a truck is parked and the engine is turned off, air pressure slowly drops over time. As that pressure disappears, the springs automatically engage the brakes, locking the wheels in place. That is why a parked truck does not roll, even without using a traditional handbrake. Compare that to hydraulic brakes. If fluid leaks, pressure disappears, and braking power is lost. But with air brakes, if pressure is lost, the system does the opposite. It forces the truck to stop. For a machine this heavy, failure cannot mean losing control. It must mean stopping. To understand how air brakes actually work, it helps to look at the system step by step. At the center of everything is the air compressor, which is powered by the truck's engine. Its job is to take in air from the environment and compress it. This compressed air is then stored in air tanks, creating a reserve that the system can use whenever braking is needed. When the driver presses the brake pedal, the system does not push fluid like in a car. Instead, it releases compressed air from the tanks. This air travels through a network of valves and lines, directing the pressure toward each wheel. At each wheel, there is a component called a brake chamber. Inside it, a diaphragm or piston reacts to the incoming air pressure. As the air enters, it pushes the piston forward. This movement is transferred to the braking mechanism, forcing the brake shoes or pads against the wheel surface. The resulting friction slows the truck down. One important detail is that the braking force depends on how much air pressure is applied. Light pressure on the pedal sends less air, creating a gentle slowdown. Strong pressure sends more air, producing stronger braking. This gives the driver precise control over how the vehicle decelerates. But even with this level of control, the system is designed with more than just performance in mind. Behind this process, there are additional layers of protection that make it far more reliable than it first appears. Air brakes are not just powerful. They are built with multiple layers of protection to make sure the system keeps working even when something goes wrong. One of the most important features is the dual circuit system. Instead of relying on a single line, the truck uses two separate air systems that control different sets of brakes. If one circuit fails, the other can still provide braking power. This means the truck never completely loses its ability to slow down. Another key component is the air dryer. As the compressor pulls in air from the environment, it also brings in moisture. If that moisture stays in the system, it can freeze in cold conditions or cause corrosion over time. The air dryer removes this moisture before it reaches the tanks, keeping the system stable and reliable. There is also a device called the governor, which controls how much pressure builds up in the system. It tells the compressor when to stop, preventing the pressure from becoming too high. On top of that, pressure relief valves act as a final safety layer by releasing excess air if the pressure goes beyond safe limits. All of these components work together to create a system with overlapping protection. It is not just one safety feature, but multiple systems backing each other up. In a way, it is like having a backup for your backup. But this level of safety and complexity does not come for free. Air brakes are powerful and incredibly safe, but they are not a system that can run forever without attention. To keep them working properly, maintenance is essential. Drivers and technicians must regularly check for air leaks, because even a small leak can reduce pressure in the system. They also need to inspect key components like brake shoes and drums to make sure they are not worn out. Over time, moisture can still build up inside the air tanks, so it needs to be drained regularly to prevent problems. Parts like slack adjusters must also be properly adjusted to keep the braking distance consistent and effective. If these steps are ignored, the risks become serious. Air pressure can drop, braking performance can weaken, and in the worst case, the system can fail. This leads to an important insight. The safer the system is designed to be, the more discipline it requires to maintain. Air brakes are not just a piece of technology. They are the reason these massive machines can stop safely every single day. And the next time you see a big truck on the road, remember, what keeps it safe is not just its power, but the way it is designed to never fail.